ladies, this is Jamie. Thanks for watching. This video is a tough one. It is about considering divorce, considering separation. Let's say you're in a really bad marriage. You're with a bad guy and he's taking advantage of you. He's maybe cheating on you. He's just really pulling some foolishness. And you've been contemplating separating. You've been contemplating divorce. You're just not sure what to do. Your heart is a mess. And you're really thinking, do I do this? Do I not? This video is for you. Now, I know sometimes you get yourself into a situation, you get married when you're young and you guys just aren't a good fit. It doesn't work out and you both decide to end the relationship and you're amicable. Great, that's wonderful, that's fine. But I'm talking about a situation where you are really struggling with this decision and a situation where he is a bad guy. He is taking advantage of you. He is not investing. He's not purposeful. He's selfish. Maybe he's abusive or he's cheated on you. It's just this marriage has went so south. And maybe it was good in the beginning and maybe it's went bad recently. Maybe it's been bad for a long time. A lot of times a marriage isn't just all of a sudden quick, it's gone bad. It's usually a slow fade over time. And people say things and people do things to each other that hurt so bad and you can't really get back to the place you want to be. Ideally, you could, and you could forgive and you could forget and everything would be great. And I think that's possible. But honestly, I only believe that's possible when both people are truly committed, they're trying, and they have given their lives over to Jesus Christ. Because I think Christ makes everything new. But when you have one person that is not willing to do that, things typically, from my experience, tend to go downhill. I have not shared much about my past in the realm of divorce, but I'm going to go ahead and do it because I have spent too much time being embarrassed or ashamed or trying to hide what I went through. But I have been married and divorced 3 times. Now, I know there are all sorts of jokes and judgments that go along with that. You hear it on TV shows. People are very critical. They do a lot of eye rolling. They instantly judge you when you tell them that you have been married and divorced 3 times. I get it. It's not something I'm proud of. It's not something I'm going out there bragging about. But I honestly chose men that weren't good men. And that's my fault. And I have to own that. Did they do some bad things and could they be at fault? Absolutely. But I made the decision to enter into that relationship without a lot of prayer, without wisdom, and without heeding godly advice from friends and family. I just dove in, and part of it was because I just wanted to be loved so badly and I wanted this relationship to work and I thought I really loved this man and that he was great. Maybe people were telling me that he wasn't, but I was just going to insist that he was. I also got blindsided in some situations, not just in marriage, but in dating. I really thought they were a good guy and then turned out they were the worst guy. So you don't always know who people are. They can hide themselves for quite a while. Anyway, enough about my past, but I told you all of that so that you can kind of know that I've been there and I know exactly what you're going through. You may think I should be the last person to offer relationship advice, and I will never give you a how to stay married for 25 years advice because that's not me. Unfortunately, that's not the experience that I've had. But I can tell you how to go through this difficult time, navigate all the emotions, and how to come out better at the end and not bitter. I can tell you how to heal after heartbreak and that there is hope. There is a future. There is a way forward. I'm reminded of a story about a shipwrecked sailor, and it goes like this. There is a sailor and he has gotten shipwrecked and he's on this island and he's stranded and he's been there for quite some time. One day he sees a beautiful yacht coming close to the island and he wades out into the water and he waves his hands and he says, "No," to the captain, "don't pull in here. There are huge, jagged rocks right underneath the surface of the water. You can't see them, but they will tear your boat apart, and you will be shipwrecked like me. Don't come in this way. Go around to the other side of the island and dock over there." And the captain of this beautiful ship yells at the man, "Why would I listen to you? You're shipwrecked." Listen, us shipwrecked people have a lot of wisdom to share. If you have gone through something traumatic, you've gone through a bad relationship, you've gone through multiple heartbreaks, you've gone through a difficult divorce or 2 or 3, you know a lot more than some people know. I have experienced more heartache in my life than most people, but I've also experienced more joy than most people, and I have grown more than a lot of people. I have had to come to terms with a lot about myself. I have done a lot of self-analysis, self-improvement, and you can too. So if you're going through this difficult time, this video is for you. I know there are several things that are going through your mind right now if you are contemplating divorce, and one of them is, I made a commitment before God. And if you're a Christian like I am, you think, I can't break that commitment. I get it. I understand. I dealt with that myself. But I will tell you something that helped me. I was looking at scriptures on divorce when I was going through this time. And one of the scriptures I found was Jesus talking about divorce. And he says, God hates divorce. But then right after that, he says something interesting that I hope will give you some clarity. He said, however, Moses allowed divorce because of the hardness of your heart. And if your partner's heart has grown hard toward you, he says harsh words, he's disrespectful, he takes you for granted, he's doing other more vicious stuff, he's cheating, he's abusive, his heart has grown hard. And so Jesus says Moses allowed it because of that reason. You can't soften someone else's heart. Then Jesus says something very random. He says, however, I have called my children to peace. What does that mean? We were talking about divorce. He says God hates it. Moses allowed it, but I have called you to peace. And in that moment when I read that scripture, I thought, okay, God, what gives me peace? If I stay with this man who has cheated on me for 13 years, do I have peace? And I've never had a panic attack in my life, but in that moment, I about had a panic attack just at the thought of staying in this marriage. I would be panicked. I would be checking his phone all the time. I would be putting a tracker on his car. I would always be questioning. And I thought, I can't live that way. I would have no peace. And then I thought, okay, if I go through with this divorce, do I have peace? And I did. I was sad at the loss of what I loved so much, but I knew I would have peace in that instance. So maybe if you're struggling with the religious aspect, that gives you some help. You might also be telling yourself, I'm not a quitter. I have to stick in there. You don't just give up on people. You make it work. But listen, you can't be the only one trying. You can't be the only one fighting. You can't be the only one bailing water out of a sinking boat when your partner is drilling holes in the boat. You also may be going through such an embarrassment, especially if you've had a divorce or 2 already on your record. You may be thinking, gosh, I'm so embarrassed. I don't want to do this again. What are people going to think? This is just another mistake I can chalk up in my life. I don't want to have to go through with that. Listen, no one has to live your life. And never apologize or never be embarrassed because you loved too much, because you took a chance on love, because you wanted a fulfilling relationship. Never apologize that your heart was too big and that you were too giving. Now, you might feel embarrassed that you were duped, that you were taken advantage of. That's okay. You can handle that embarrassment, but just know that you were too good and too kind and too awesome and too great and too loving. That's nothing to be embarrassed about. You might be worried about other people's perception and them judging you. Because let's face it, you probably, in this age of social media, you put up a good front. Everything was great. Everything was fine. I know I did that. I tried to hide all the chaos that was going on from my friends, from my family, especially on social media. I tried to make it look like I had the best marriage. Listen, you're not really fooling anyone. And if you are, that's just sad. Listen, more people will understand than what you think. Will there be some people out there that judge you? Yes, and those haters are going to judge you no matter what you do. but you're going to find really true people that understand and they have your back. And also consider that God is the only judge. He's really the only one you need to answer to. So you can square your mistakes up with God when you get to heaven. Ask for Jesus to just cover you with his blood, his grace, and his mercy over the multitude of stupid decisions that you've made and the sins you've committed. And when you get to heaven, you're going to be fine. So don't worry about other people's judgment. Also consider that other people that are watching you, judging you, there are also other people watching you to see how you live your life. Your children may be watching. And do you want your young son to see this is how a man treats a woman? Do you want your daughter to see this is what a woman puts up with in a relationship? At some point, you have to look back and see those little ones, regardless of what age they are watching everything you do, and your influence is huge. I would rather be a fool and an embarrassment to the whole world, but be right in God's eyes and be right in my children's eyes. For my daughter to look at me and say, you're such a strong mom, you're such a strong woman. I want my son to be able to look at me and say, wow, don't ever treat a woman like that. My mom was great, she didn't deserve it, and I never want to treat somebody like that because I will lose them. You also might be thinking about the naysayers, the people that told you not to get into it, and you defended this guy so bad. You were like, he's great, he's wonderful, he's not like the other guys, he's not like my ex. And they were saying, hey, he's a bad guy, he's got anger issues, he's done this and this to the last woman he was with. Don't jump into this. I know that's a tough pill to swallow. Trust me, I've been there too. My ex-husband told me not to marry a guy that I ended up marrying. He told me he was bad. Do you know how hard it is to prove your ex right? And my ex was pretty bad. And then I had to admit that he was right about this next guy. Trust me, you do not want to have to look like an embarrassment to your naysayers. But again, so what? I will guarantee you those people that are hating on you, they have their own demons. They have a lot of skeletons in their closet. Their marriages probably aren't as great as they're making it out to be either. I get it that all of this is going on in your head right now. I also have some words for encouragement. You might have put on this facade that everything was wonderful for so long, and finally you just couldn't do it anymore. And you feel like you are the lone wolf. You are the one that is so messed everything up, or that every eye is on you. You're under a magnifying glass. Everybody is judging you and scrutinizing you. But I am telling you, I have been doing coaching for a while. I wrote a book called Stolen Halos about my past and my life, and I was shocked at the amount of people that came out of the woodwork and told me, your book really helped me. I'm dealing with a lot of that. Or my partner and I are going through that. Or my husband has done those things. And I was shocked. I remember one couple in particular, one woman came to me and said, your book really helped me. And I looked at her and I said, what are you talking about? You have a great marriage, a great husband. You guys are Barbie and Ken of the city. And she said, oh, you have no idea. So it's not really, I don't want you to find encouragement that other people are having a terrible marriage, but a lot of them are. I know another older couple that was together for over 50 years. And at the end of their marriage, they both admitted that they were just waiting for the other person to die so that they could have peace, because they hated that person so much, but they put on a good show in front of everyone. Don't let that be you. Now, I know that there are some marriages that are great, that are doing wonderful, and I hope that they are. But don't hang your hat on, by God, we've been together for 35 years, and we'll be the last ones doing the dance at the weddings where they say, stay on the dance floor if you've been married this many years and this many years, and they're the last ones on there. But the minute they're done with their dance, they go their separate ways. They have their separate bedrooms. They don't even speak to each other at home. Unfortunately, there's a lot more of that going on than wonderful, fulfilling, loving marriages. I'm not telling you never to get remarried and never to give love a chance. I am definitely giving love another chance. But the next time around, you'll be more wary, you'll be more wise, and you'll be able to make more godly decisions in who you choose to spend your life with. Trust me, a lot of people are going through what you are. They're just not willing to make the steps that you are willing to make. Staying together for 35 years and being miserable takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage. But getting out of a bad marriage takes a lot of strength too. I'm not here to judge you. I'm not God. I'm not your judge. That is up to you and him to figure out. I will tell you that peace is better than chaos. Solitude is better than being disrespected. Calmness is better than walking on eggshells. You would never accuse, criticize, judge, or blame a child who was caught in an abusive relationship. And I feel like sometimes in marriages, the toxicity that goes on is so bad, and you try to stay in for all the right reasons. And then when you finally say, I can't take it anymore, and you get out, people judge you. And we would never do that for a child who is trapped in an abusive relationship. And toxic marriages can be very abusive. So don't blame yourself for getting out. I will tell you something kind of sad and personal, but one of the best days of my life, of course, my best days were the days my children were born, but akin to that, one of the best days of my life was the day that I came home, and my husband and I were in the middle of a divorce, and I came home and he had finally moved his stuff out of the house. It was the best day of my life. I felt like a burden had been lifted, a big chain had been taken off of my neck. I literally went into every room in my house and I danced because I was finally free. And that's sad. It's sad to admit that I had lived so many years just not being me, not being free, not being happy, but putting on the face for everyone else. I don't want that to be you. Listen, you will survive this divorce. You will learn from it. You will grow. I hope that you become better instead of bitter. I know exactly what you're going through. And if you need anybody to talk to, you can reach out to me on my website, She's Everyday, she'severyday.com. I will link the website in the description below. I have an e-course on there called She Heals, how to not just survive a breakup or divorce, but how to thrive in the midst of it. Ladies, I want to see you win. If you're going through this time period, I am praying for you, and just stay strong and stay tough and let God be your guide. Do what you need to do. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. God bless you guys. I will see you in the next video.